I'm Jessica Waite.
And I'm Matt Scotton.
Tonight we'll preview the upcoming spring game, discuss where previous Oregon players are predicted to go in the NFL draft, and recap the baseball and softball series from last weekend.
All that and more right now. Let's get you caught up on this past weekend's Oregon sports.
The Oregon Acro and Tumbling team had another outstanding performance at the championship meet this past Saturday, but the team couldn't clinch the title as the Baylor Bears won its first national title, beating the Ducks by 3.82 points. This victory hindered the Ducks from winning its fifth consecutive national championship.
The Ducks started off strong at the Penn relays, which individuals scored rather than teams, as the UO women took the sprint medley, and the men kicked its way in front of Villanova in its distance medley thanks to Edward Cheserek. Saturday was not kind to Cheserek in the 4x-mile. Cheserek led most of the anchor, but Villanova's Jordan Williams caught Cheserek on the final turn to take down the reigning NCAA indoor mile champ by 0.8 of a second. Now we'll send it to Autzen Stadium to get you a preview of the Oregon spring game.
Thanks, Matt. I'm Lena Bond out here with Spencer Hall at the gorgeous Autzen Stadium, where in just a few short days, the Oregon Ducks will be strapping on helmets and pads for the first time in 2015 for the annual spring game. However, with key players like Marcus Mariota, Ifo Ekpre-Olumu, and Eric Armstead all leaving the O behind to enter the 2015 NFL Draft, there's a lot of question marks on who's going to be able to step up and take their positions this season. So, Spencer, what do you think the coaching staff's main goal is looking into this spring game?
Well, Lena, as you said, the Ducks have suffered huge losses on both sides of the ball. On defense, they lost defensive stars Ekpre-Olumu and Armstead, and they're going to look to rebuild the defense, which was shaky in 2014 and ranked 89th in the nation according to the FBS. On offense, I think Coach Helfrich is going to look to retool rather than rebuild while giving new talent a chance to take the field this weekend.
I think you're right, Spencer, with key returners such as DeForest Buckner, Byron Marshall, and Royce Freeman all coming back. I don't think Helfrich needs to be in that rebuild mentality yet. However, who do you think is going to surprise the coaching staff and really make a case for being a starter week one?
Personally, I believe that Charles Nelson is going to be that guy. He had a great season last year on the offensive side of the ball, but he's going to be dramatically different this year as he takes the change to defense. He's going to be a defensive back instead of a wide receiver, but I think that his experience at the wide receiver position will let him allow him to be a standout this year for the Ducks.
I'm excited also to see what Nelson has to offer for this defensive team. However, we've talked X's, let's talk O's in the inevitable conversation. Who's going to fill Marcus Mariota's shoes this upcoming season? We know Vernon Adams from Eastern Washington University isn't eligible to come until this summer. So who do you think is really going to make a case for themselves at quarterback here at the spring game?
Well, this weekend, Jeff Locke, I believe, will be starting. He's been the most consistent throughout the Oregon Ducks spring practice program, and he's been with them the longest. He's been 3 seasons with the Ducks now, and I think he's got a great arm. He's got confidence now that he's got the experience, and I think he's going to come out there and have a really great weekend.
I think either way, it's going to be a really exciting day here at Autzen on Saturday, and the good news is, either way, the Ducks are going to be victorious. I'm Lena Bond.
I'm Spencer Hall.
Back to you guys at the desk.
Thanks, guys. There will be a few Ducks missing from the spring game as they enter the 2015 NFL Draft, including a handful of players that could possibly be drafted in the first round. Now let's start off with an easy one. Marcus Mariota is projected to be his second overall pick. Which team do you see picking him up?
Sorry, Chip. I think San Diego trades up to get him. Tennessee is desperate to win, and Phillip Rivers isn't getting any younger for the San Diego Chargers. Mariota would be a good fit for the Chargers, and I think they could pull off a trade by packaging Rivers and some picks to go up and get the Titans' number 2 overall pick.
See, I'm predicting him to go to the Tennessee Titans. The Titans have the second overall pick and could use another quarterback. They already have Zach Mettenberger, but I believe Mariota could be in a close competition with Mettenberger for the starting quarterback spot. Mariota has to grow as a pocket passer, but has proved to be a smart quarterback and can learn a new offensive style quickly.
All right, what about Eric Armstead? I see a team like Atlanta take him at 8. They need some help on the D-line, and Armstead has the potential to be that guy for them. If they don't take him at 8, I could see San Francisco sweeping in and getting him at 15.
Yeah, I see Armstead going to the San Francisco 49ers. Eric Armstead is young. He is showing a lot of raw talent right now, and it will take the right team to hone his athletic ability and utilize him on the defensive line. The 49ers have a veteran line, and that line is featuring its newest pickup, 11th-year veteran Darnell Dockett. If Armstead is drafted by the 49ers, he can learn a tremendous amount under the veteran leadership of Dockett. And Dockett is also currently injured, coming off an injury, And so that would be the perfect opportunity for Armstead to take that position. Now, Ifo Ekpe-Olomu was projected to be a first-round pick coming into the season. How far do you think his injury will drop him in the draft?
I see him falling to the 3rd round. Not only is he injured, but he's a little undersized to be an outside corner. I see him more as a nickel corner in the NFL. With that being said, a team could get a real steal if he works out for him. Another player to watch is Jake Fisher, who has the potential to sneak into the end of the 1st round. When you're not watching the draft, there are plenty of Oregon sports to keep you busy. Haley, what sports should I be looking forward to watching this upcoming weekend?
Well, this weekend, Oregon sports will be firing on all cylinders. Softball and baseball continue Pac-12 play at home while Autzen Stadium opens its gates as football makes its annual appearance with the spring game, showcasing its up-and-coming recruiting class. The events for this weekend start off with the softball team at Howe Field, where the Lady Ducks take on the California Golden Bears. First pitch for this series will begin this Friday at 5 p.m. Over the river and through the woods, the Oregon Ducks baseball team takes on the Stanford Cardinal. The 3-game series will begin shortly after the Ducks softball game, starting at 6 p.m. at PK Park. Before both these series continue into Saturday, be sure to pick up some canned food for admittance into the spring football game, starting at 11 a.m. at Autzen Stadium. The softball and baseball series conclude on Sunday as both teams take the field at noon. That wraps it up for this weekend's Sportscast. Back to you guys at the desk.
Thanks, Haley. For the 3rd straight series, the Oregon baseball team had a rubber match this past Sunday after dropping their first 3 Pac-12 series. The Ducks were facing an uphill battle without the leadership of head coach George Horton in the first 2 games of the Washington series. One thing that stood out to me was the relief pitching for Oregon this series. Cooper Stiles and Steven Nagosek struggled to start the series, but pitched lights out down the stretch. The starting pitching has been inconsistent this season, so it's a nice luxury to have a bullpen you can rely on.
I couldn't agree with you more. Oregon doesn't have a starting pitcher with an ERA under 4.66. Connor Harbor hasn't even made it to the 3rd inning in any of his previous 4 outings. That's why Josh Graham was so impressive on Sunday when he finished with 5 innings pitched and only gave up 3 hits, 1 run, and had 4 strikeouts. Also, the defense is finally coming around for the Ducks, which is something to expect from a George Horton coached team. Meanwhile, at Howe Field, the Oregon softball team swept the Louisiana Lafayette Raging Cajuns in a top 10 matchup this past weekend. The Ducks won in dominating fashion, run-ruling the Raging Cajuns in the first 2 matchups. Well, the last game went down to the last out before the Ducks were able to force it into extras, eventually winning it in the 8th. The pitching staff was on fire, only giving up 12 hits in the series. But don't sleep on that offense, as they outscored Louisiana Lafayette 20-3. Jenny Takeda broke the Oregon career hit and stolen base record in a span of 2 pitches. Next weekend, the Ducks will play its final regular season home games at Howe Field against the UC Berkeley Golden Bears. Cal is 7th in the Pac-12. Jessica, do you think the Ducks could overlook a team like Cal?
The Lady Ducks need to focus on one game at a time. They struggled to do so against the Stanford Cardinal, only winning by 1 point, 5-4 in the first game of the series. After the 3rd game of the series against the Raging Cajuns, Nikki Udria admitted that the team overlooked Louisiana Lafayette in the last game of the series. Oregon beat the Raging Cajuns 2-1 in the last game, but barely secured the win in the bottom of the 8th. With only 2 series left in the Pac-12 season, it seems that Oregon's biggest obstacle this far could be themselves, as the team admitted to overlooking the games. Rather than looking ahead at the postseason play, the Lady Ducks can't overlook the Bears despite being in the bottom half of the Pac-12, because poor performance could affect the Lady Ducks' mindset heading into the postseason.
Before we sign off, I need to ask you one last question. With the fight of the century happening this weekend, you taking Manny Pacquiao or Floyd Mayweather?
I'm gonna have to go with Pacquiao because I was inspired by a song, and quite frankly, I don't like Mayweather.
Well, you heard it here first. Pacquiao by decision. For Jessica Waite, I'm Matt Scotton. Until next week, Eugene.